Hi class, good afternoon. We are just gonna be wrapping up consumer arithmetic this afternoon. So we are dealing with ratios. Ratios are used to make quantitative comparisons or among measures of the same kind. It is a quantitative relation between two quantities that are expressed in the same units. It shows the number of times one quantity contains or is contained in another. So A to B, and is read A to B to C is read A to B to C. Ratios have the following properties. A ratio is a multiplicative comparison. The quantities to be compared and are measured in the same units. The order is important in a ratio. Ratios are expressed in their lowest terms. Only integer values are used to express ratios. For example, share $54 in a ratio of 4 to 5. So first step is you're gonna add the 2 to get the total of the ratio. So it's 9. And then we're gonna convert each of these parts of the ratio into fractions. So it becomes 4/9 to 5/9. And then we're gonna multiply this by 54 to find out how much 4/9 is, how much 4/9 will give you in $54. So here when we multiply it, we get $24 and 5/9 will give you $30. So the ratio would be $24 to $30 with a 4 to 5 share. Now we also have share in a quantity in a given ratio. So if we want to add A and B, these are the steps here that we just went through. We're going to add A and B to find the total number of shares, and we're going to convert to a fraction. Right, moving on. When you want to find the missing part of a ratio, so 2 lengths are in the ratio 3 to 7. If the longer piece is 35 centimeters, what is the length of the shorter piece? So we're going to do step 1 that we did before, which is we're going to add A and B to find the total number of shares. So here the total number will be 3 plus 7 is 10. Then we're going to convert into a fraction as shown previously. And it's going to be 3/10 to 7/10. So 7/10 is equal to 35 centimeters. Therefore, 1/10 is equal to 35/7, which is equal to 5. Or another way we could say it as 7/10, right, would be multiplied by 35/1. And that's how you would get 1/10 is equal to 35/7. And you get 5 centimeters. So you cross multiply to be able to get it. The shorter piece is 3/10 because the longer piece is the 7/10 here. And they told us it's 35 centimeters, right? The shorter piece, 3/10. 3/10, we know 1/10 is 5 centimeters. So one portion is 5 centimeters. So it will be 3 multiplied by 5. So that'll be 15 centimeters. So 3/10. So the shorter piece is 15 centimeters. You have any questions so far, Cameron?
No, miss.
Okay. Here's another example. Randy has 12 more CDs than Jackie. The ratio of the number of Randy's CDs to the number of Jackie's CDs is 5:1. How many CDs does Randy have? So again, we're gonna find the total, which is 6, convert it to our fractions, so have 5/6, 1/6. And then we're gonna find the difference between the fractions here, because we wanna find out how much more, right? How much CDs Randy has, and they only tell us they have 12 more. So 5 minus 1 will give you 4. So that means the 12 CDs Randy's have represents 4/6 of the total. So we want to find the total CDs that represent one part. So one part would be 12/4 because 12 CDs represents 4 parts. So you'll get 3. So 3 CDs is one part. To find the total amount of CDs Randy has, we multiply the total parts by the total amount of CDs and then dividing that by Randy's ratio of CDs. So total CDs is equal to 6 multiplied by 3 is 18 CDs in all. And Randy has 5/6 parts multiplied by 18. So Randy has 15 CDs. Any questions?
No, miss.
Okay, great. So we're gonna be looking at rates, and you wrote down the notes for these like I told you to last week, correct?
Yeah.
Great. So rates. Now rates involve comparison of quantities and are expressed in different units. So we have dollars, liters, kilometers per hour, and a unit rate is the rate per 1 unit. So if they say mangoes are sold at a rate of 5 for $8, calculate the selling price of 6 mangoes. What we want to do is find the unit rate by dividing the 8 by 5. So that means 1 mango is $1.60. Then we want to multiply the unit rate by the amount of mangoes being sold to determine its selling price. So the selling price of 6 mangoes would be 6 multiplied by 160, which will give you 960. So 6 mangoes will be sold for 960. Any questions?
No, miss.
Okay. We have proportions. Now, a proportion is a statement of equality between two ratios or rates. So if we use a ratio, a pair of equivalent rates will involve 4 quantities. When solving an unknown quantity, 3 out of these 4 quantities are given, and we use the basic principle of equivalent fractions to find the unknown quantity. This method can be used with direct proportion and indirect proportion when 2 quantities vary, such as one quantity increases or decreases, the other increases or decreases. So let's look at direct proportion. We have a car that consumes 30 liters in traveling a distance of 400 kilometers. Calculate the distance covered in consuming 1 liter of fuel. Let X represent an unknown distance. We have 2 methods. Could use ratios or we could use rates. So we have 400 kilometers over X kilometers, because we don't know, is equal to 30 liters over 1 liter. So then we get 30 multiplied by X, so we cross multiply, and 400 multiplied by 1. So X is equal to 400 over 30, and X is equal to 13.3 kilometers. Here, we use the same, but we use rates. So instead of we put kilometers, we put 400 per 30 liters, so 400 over 30 is equal to X over 1, because we don't know how much distance 1 liter has. Again, we cross multiply. So it will be X multiplied by 30 and 400 multiplied by 1. So you'll get 400 over 30, and your answer will still be 13.3 kilometers. Any questions?
No, miss.
Here is some other examples. Right now, if 2 liters of petrol costs $5.40, calculate the cost of 5 liters of petrol. So again, this is using what they call a unitary method, which we just discussed here, and the proportions. So we have 2 liters is equal to $5.40. So $5.40 over 2 is equal to 270. So you want to find how much is 1 unit. And this is using rates. So we want to find how much is 1 unit. So 1 unit is $2.70. So we want to calculate cost of 5 liters. So 5 liters is $5. 5 multiplied by $5.40. So 5 liters is $13.50. When we use proportions, we have 2 liters over 540 is equal to 5 liters over X. So we use X to represent the unknown amount. So we cross multiply. So we end up with 2 liters multiplied by X is equal to 5 multiplied by 4.50. And you divide that by 2. So you get 13.50. Any questions?
No, miss.
This example, we have 3 liters of paint covers 20 meters squared. We want to know how much liters of paint will cover 160 meters squared. This is the units method or the weights method. So we have 20 meters and we have 3 liters. So we want to find out how much in 1 meter squared. So 1 meter squared will be 3 over 20. We also want to find out how much liters will cover 160. We could choose to find the decimal form, but I personally prefer to multiply by the 160 and calculate everything together on the calculator, which will give me 24 liters. Right? Using proportions, we have X liters, so we use X to represent the unknown amount of liters, is equal to 160 meters squared. So now we cross multiply. So we have 3 liters over 20 meters squared and X liters over 160 meters squared, and we cross multiply. So X multiplied by 20, 3 liters multiplied by 160. So you get 3 multiplied by 160 over 20 is equal to 24 liters. Any questions?
No, miss.
Okay. Cameron, you're saying no miss, no miss. I hope you get all correct on the test, mister.
Yes, miss.
Okay. We dealing with, this is the last two that we had, currency conversion. So to convert currency, you can use either the unitary method or the proportions method, which is also known as cross multiplication. So same thing, all we're dealing with is converting currencies from one to the next. Or I think you had missed this class. I'm not sure if you watched the video, converting units, grams to kilograms, kilograms to grams, and whatnot. So example 1, water is leaking from a tank at a constant rate of 4 liters per minute. How long will it take to lose 32 liters of water? So when we use the rate, 4 liters per minute, we want to find out how much liters, how much we lose in 1 minute, right? So we lose 1 liter in a quarter minute, sorry. We want to find out how much liters we lose, how much minutes it takes to lose 1 liter. So it takes 1/4 minute or 0.25 seconds to lose 1 liter of water. When you want to know how much to lose 32 liters of water, you multiply this by 32 to get 8 minutes. Any questions?
No, miss.
In example 2, we have Jerry and Kerry are running a 60 kilometers marathon. Jerry runs at 24 kilometers per hour, while Kerry at 20 kilometers per hour. How long will it take Jerry to finish the race? When Jerry finishes the race, how much further does Kerry have to run to reach the finish line? So the first one, the distance to run is 60 kilometers. We have to decide how much time that Jerry took to finish the race. So Jerry's speed was 25 kilometers per hour. Time to finish will be the distance over the speed. So it'll be 60 over 24, which will give you 2.5. So it took Jerry 2.5 hours to finish the race. Next, we want to know after Jerry finished the race, how much further, so we're looking at distance, does Kerry have to run to finish the race in time? So distance to run is going to be speed multiplied by time. And since we have the time, it's 2.5, it's going to be 20 multiplied by 2.5, which is equal to 50 kilometers. Therefore, marathon is 60 kilometers. After January finish, Kerry will have to run 60 minus 50, 10 kilometers still. Any questions?
No, miss.
Okay. The last topic we have to cover is overtime. Now, when employees work beyond their normal schedule of hours than is expected, they are paid extra money for doing so. And overtime pay is usually a higher rate than the basic rate. So these are some definitions I want you to pay attention to, and you wrote down these notes already, right?
Not the last ones. Let me check.
Please do.
Yes, miss. I have it on.
Great. So when employees work beyond their normal schedule of hours than is expected, they are paid extra money for doing so. And this is our definition. So overtime wages is the total wages earned for working extra time. Overtime rate is the rate of pay. Basic rate is equal to normal wages earned without overtime. We have some formulas. We need to learn these formulas. So basic week is equal to number of hours worked times hourly rate of pay. An hourly rate is equal to basic week over number of hours worked, or basic week divided by number of hours worked. Overtime wages is equal to overtime rate times basic hourly rate. And gross wage is equal to basic wage plus overtime wages. Let's see how this plays out in an example. So we have here, a company pays a basic wage of $900 for a 40-hour week. Overtime is paid at time and a half. We're going to calculate the basic hourly rate, the overtime rate. So we also have, let's go with this first. The basic hourly rate is equal to basic week divided by number of hours worked. So basic hourly rate is 900 divided by 40 is equal to 2250. So the answer for A1 is 2250. We want to know the overtime rate. Overtime hourly rate is equal to basic hourly rate multiplied by overtime rate. Time is paid at time, overtime is paid at time and a half, so it's 1.5. So it's going to be 2250 multiplied by 1.5 is equal to 3375. And this is the answer for A2. Going on to B. An employee works 20 hours overtime in a certain week. Calculate the employee's overtime earnings for the week. So the total overtime earnings is equal to overtime hourly rate times number of hours worked. So you get total overtime earnings is equal to 33.75 multiplied by 20, which is equal to 675. All right. And this would be, right. So we have also the basic weekly wage is equal to 900. The total earnings is equal to basic weekly wage plus, right, total overtime earnings. This is the answer. By the way, this 675 here is the answer for 1. We're dealing with the number 2, which is employees' total earnings for the week. So the total earnings would be basic weekly wage plus total overtime earnings. So total earnings is equal to 900 plus 675, which is equal to $1,575. All right, and this is his total earnings for the week. Then we had another employee earned $1,305 in a particular week. How many hours of overtime did she work? So we make sure and put this down. Total overtime earnings is equal to total earnings minus the basic weekly wage. The reason why we want to find out we're going to subtract from the total earnings is because if we wanted to find out how much overtime she was owed, if we wanted to find out how much she was owed, we would have added it together. No, sorry, not bad. Just give me a minute. 1 minute. Let's pause. I need to go and drink some water. Okay. So as I was saying previously, we have the total earnings of the worker. We need to find the overtime earnings to be able to calculate the number of hours worked overtime. This is why we are subtracting the total earnings from the basic weekly wage. If you remember from up here, to be able to get the total earnings, we had to add the basic weekly wage with the total overtime to be able to get this. We only want the total overtime earnings, and that is why we are subtracting the basic weekly wage from the total earnings. So the total overtime earnings gives us 405. Now we want the hours worked. Usually when we are looking for the amount earned, we would subtract. we would subtract, sorry about that, that's my mom talking to the neighbor. We would subtract by, we would multiply by the number of hours. So we would multiply. So basically what this is asking us to do is the opposite of what we would do here, right? Normally, when we want to find the total overtime earnings, we would multiply by the number of hours worked. Here we want to find the number of hours worked. So we are going to divide the total overtime earnings by the overtime hourly rate, which is 33.75. So it's going to be 405 divided by 33.75. So this person worked for 12 hours. Any questions?
No, miss.
Okay. So are you ready for your test? You're confident in this test? Come on, by chance, did you look at the videos that I had sent you for the computation that I did, the classes you missed out?
I think the ones you sent them an email, right?
Yeah, it was uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so next week we are supposed to move on to algebra. And before we move on to algebra, I need to make sure that you understand that. So you'll be getting another test next week, Tuesday, which is only going to be past paper questions for computation, right?
Yes, miss.
So here's what I need you to do. I need you to put on your camera and you're going to start working on this. Now it's 5:80. You have 1 hour, it's 15 questions, different parts, it's 15 questions and all, and you have 1 hour to finish all 15 questions. Maybe an hour and 15 minutes, right? It's a test, so do your best and not look in your notes. And when you need me to scroll along, just let me know, I'll be right here.
Yes, miss.
When you are done, to help with corrections being faster, as soon as you're finished with a question, if you can take out a picture and send it to me so that I can correct it immediately and start marking it one time. So when by the time you're done, we should be able to have and then we will also go through the solutions next class.